Hi guys, so today I am joined by Mike Harrison. He is one half of Business and Banter and my business mentor. Mike is, in my opinion, the best business mentor within the fitness industry, certainly in the UK, if not worldwide. He's built a seven-figure business without any wanky sales tactics. I've been working with Mike for 6 months, and he has really helped revolutionize the way I go into business. He's already doing well, and he's just elevated it to another level just by understanding how to market, how to build a proper sales funnel, like I say, without any wanky sales tactics. In today's podcast, Mike goes over the biggest mistakes that people make when trying to grow their business, how to rectify that, how to build a business you're proud of and last and ultimately makes more money. It's a fantastic episode. Mike is a great guest, and I look forward to you enjoying this one. Thanks. Right, we're on. Mike, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. It could all be worse than what it is. How are
I
you?
mean, I'm good. I was gonna say, how's life over in Dubai?
It's funny because I get asked this a lot, and I'm going to say it's exactly the fucking same as like is in England because
Just warmer.
I just sit at my desk all day in a different country. Well, yeah, it's all good, mate. It's all good. The weekends are nice, but you do miss home. Like I do miss parts of home. So we're coming back in 2.5 weeks for a little while, running a little event.
I was going to say, you've got an event I'm sadly not able to make it to.
It's all good, mate. If you don't want to turn up, that's completely up to you.
I just want to see you in my spare time like now, really.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. Innit? But yeah, we're running an event, and I'll be back for the most of summer, really, because it's just too hot here. But yeah, Dubai, like I say, it could be
You
worse.
froze in a
It
second.
could be worse.
Oh, we froze a second there, mate. What happened there?
But it's saying something at the top, uploading on my thing.
I don't know
Is
what
it
it's
just because
doing
it's?
that.
No
Pass.
idea.
We'll work through the technical errors. Hopefully it'll be all right.
We'll run with
So
it.
make it work. So the reason I wanted to get you on is really, I think there's definitely, in my opinion, there's a lot of, I want to say, charlatan type behaviours within the coaching industry, and I would certainly see it within the coaching mentor industry, which obviously you sit in. And we've been working together for about 6 months now, and it's definitely been really beneficial to me. And one thing I want to do is with this podcast is get information out which is going to help other coaches. And to me, you guys do it the right way. You do it the right way, put out really good information. I wouldn't work with you if that wasn't the case. Very ethical. And the thing I wanted to sort of use you to kind of get into was talking about how coaches can build their business, but do it in a way they're proud of, that's going to last the test of time, and also in an ethical way, because we know the coaching industry isn't the most ethical in a lot of places. And I love the way you guys have grown your business and have helped me grow mine. So I thought I'd get you on and talk about that.
Wicked. Yeah, I mean, firstly, thank you for having me on, mate. I do appreciate it. And it's really nice to kind of hear those kind words. And yeah, look, it's what we try to do in terms of growing something for the long term. You know, that's ethical, but you're absolutely right. I think as it stands these days, I think we're in a very very weird kind of position in terms of coaching. I think back when I started, it's probably around when you started to some degree. When did you start?
So I've been coaching, not necessarily online, since, I'm going to show my age here, probably about 2004. Because I was coaching in rugby and then professional sport, and then I only made it online the last maybe 12 years, and then really full time, like really pushing it hard in the last four.
Yeah. So let's look at 12 years. I mean, it's slightly longer than for myself, but like if we just go back to that point in time, there was never this focus on 10k months and money like there was, like there is now. Sorry. Um, have we frozen?
No, I'm good. I can.
We're all good. We're all good. We're all good. Yeah, there's never this focus like there is now, and I think to some degree it's ruining it. I think back when me and you kind of were getting into the online space, it was more so about being the best coach that you could be, and probably the people that were getting into coaching were because they were passionate about it, because to some degree that they wanted to help others, and that maybe they wish they'd have, certainly for me, I wish I'd have been coached in my early 20s, mid 20s, and coached well, because I would have helped my own self-confidence. I would have saved myself a lot of time and wasted money on supplementation and on poor coaching. So I got into coaching to kind of help the earlier version of myself. And when I was coming into coaching, I always wanted to make sure I was trying to be the best coach. So I would be attending seminars, I would be investing in my own education, I would be doing courses, I would be studying, I would listen to podcast after podcast after podcast, and I'm talking constant. I'm talking on the way to work. I would have my they weren't wireless back then, they weren't AirPods back then, but they were
probably better than AirPods.
yeah they were just the usual headphones. I'd have those in whilst I was working, so I used to have a proper job. I'd listen to podcasts, and then on the way home I'd have research Fridays where I would devote 4 to 5 hours on a Friday and go through research papers, because I just wanted to be the best I could be. I wanted to give the best service, and I always believed in it, because I felt like if anybody was going to pay me their hard-earned money, I wanted to give them what they deserved. I wanted to give them a result, I wanted to give them service, I wanted to build connection, and that's where my kind of passion came from. Now, the industry has shifted, and I don't see that much anymore. Don't get me wrong, in some cases there will be, but it feels like there's an overarching trend of it's all about money, and they're seeing clients as cash in the bank, and it's all about volume. And to be completely frank, the average coach that I see, that I might speak to, they're not the best coaches, but yet they expect to earn the most money. When what they would be better focused on would be to do the things that me and you would be doing back in the day, which is, how about you focus on your service? How about you focus on your coaching skills? How about you develop the traits that lead you to be a better coach? How about you learn empathy, motivation, future pacing? How about you learn the real art of coaching? Because that will lead to more money over time, and stop worrying and focusing about what's coming in through the door the next month and trying to make the quick buck. So I just see a big change in the industry from when I started to where we're at now, to some degree. Excuse me. I probably play into it, like just being upfront, because what coaches want to see in terms of social proof is, how is this guy going to help my business? I like to think that when somebody comes in to work with me, I don't just have a focus on how can we increase the business revenue-wise, but how can I improve your onboarding? How can I try to upskill you in certain avenues of your coaching? How can we look at the systems that you're using? How can we look at your retention?
Frozen a little bit there. I don't know what's going on with this Riverside.
I've used Riverside before, and it's usually not too bad. I don't know whether it will come out in the audio. I think the audio might be okay. I think it might just be the upload speed or something like that.
Well, we'll hopefully, I mean, we haven't missed anything, so we'll keep going. We'll keep going.
So basically, I'll try to do that. Like I say, to some degree, I'll play into it, because people, it's not as sexy for me to say I'm going to help make you a better coach. Sometimes, like, some people want to go, yeah, but what does that look like in my business? But honestly, I think that the landscape has changed, and not necessarily for the better. So yeah, that's kind of how I would sum things up in a bit of a nutshell.
Yeah, I think your experience there is pretty much what I've kind of seen myself to some degree, where we've got, when I started, it's probably the same as you, we had people like Lane Norton were like out there, he just started, you probably had Eric Helmsman of Henselmans, there was a few coaches in America, but online coaching wasn't really a thing back then, but it was about being a good coach. And the thing I found helped with that, I don't know if you're on any of the online forums, like the Lar McDonald forums, anything like that. Did you ever go on those ones?
You just froze there, but I think I got the gist. So it was.
Did you go on any other forums when you're like getting into coaching?
Yeah. So I was in. I think I'm in Lar McDonald's Facebook group. I think. But yeah, it was the same people that you've just listed off there. I would listen to everything that Lane Norton was on. I would get the muscle and strength pyramids, or whatever they called, muscle and training pyramids, something like that, from Eric. I think I used to have a podcast back in the day myself where I interviewed like Jeff Alberts, who was in
Yeah, he's awesome.
3DMJ.
DMJ, yeah.
I interviewed Cliff Wilson, which again was another highly sought after prep coach. Um, Obviously, I would kind of go and listen to somebody like James Krieger speak, and again, it was like you wanted to model
Learn.
yourself
Yeah.
these people that were Brad Schoenfeld, that were at the forefront of the research, and you just wanted to be a better coach, and you wanted to absorb it like a sponge. And now it's about, okay, how can I make my videos go viral by putting a microphone on the end of a wooden spoon? Like,
Yeah.
wait, what's going on?
Well, I spoke about this on a few videos where it's like you've got two sides of your business. It's like you've got the marketing and advertisement, which obviously you guys specialize in, and then you've got the actual being a good coach. And I
Yeah.
remember when I first started out, I had another business mentor, and I'm not going to slag anyone off because they were actually quite good. But I remember being in a group call, and someone went, "How do I increase my retention? Do I do this giveaway? Do I do this?" And I was sat there, I was thinking, surely just be good at your job, right? That's the
Yeah.
thing that went through my mind. And I thought, you've got a lot of people, like you say, who maybe, not for any necessary fault of their own, just because of the echo chamber that we're in as online coaches, are told that the only way you can grow your business is to put more through the door, or throw enough shit at a wall and it'll stick, to use another phrase. And to me, it doesn't really resonate. I want to be as good as I can be. And obviously, I think you're learning every single day as a coach. But I really like the way that you guys have kind of come into it and, I guess, focus on the front end without neglecting the other side of it. So you're focusing on the marketing side of it and all that's all good stuff, but you're not neglecting that back end, which is so important. And I guess that kind of like leads me on to my next questions is, we kind of touched on where do you see like the state of the coaching industry. And I guess the thing for me is, do you feel like there's a bit of a skills gap like in that? That can be from the marketing side, and it can also be from the actual coaching side. And it sounds like you agree with me, there is.
Yeah, I'd say both. You can be forgiven for having a skills gap with the marketing side because ultimately most people get into coaching or should get into coaching because they want to coach. Marketing is something you're going to have to pick up if you want to run your own business. It's the same thing. If you were a plumber, you would still have to some degree learn how to market as a plumber, learn how to write an advert, probably look at a referral scheme. That's still marketing. So there is a skills gap with the marketing, but certainly I would say a skills gap with the actual coaching element as well. I would say, and I think it's because there's such a low barrier of entry into coaching. There's no education platform or qualification that you need to take. You can literally just change your name on Instagram and you're an online coach. You can do one show or do a photo shoot and you're an online coach. And it's very, very difficult for the average person to decipher one online coach from the next online coach to the next one, because this is something where, unlike buying a phone or a car or a laptop where you can try it before you buy, they're having to hand their cash over to these coaches before they actually realise what they're going to get from their coaching service. And it's probably not until a couple of months in where they go, actually, I'm not seeing any results. Actually, nobody's really replying to me at times, or not getting back to me, or tossing me off, or actually, I've just received a training program with somebody else's name on it. It's like then it almost takes a month or two for it to start to twig anyway. So I do think that there is a skills gap, and it is because there's no governing body. I don't think there's ever going to be a governing body. I feel like it's such an easy thing to do, to change your name on Instagram and make a few videos, which is not great. There should be some form of like trust pilot type thing, you would think.
I know they've tried to make websites like that before, but it's just never taken off.
Because it's also very, very subjective as well, I guess. Like one person's experience could be different to the next person's experience, which I guess it's the same thing as Trustpilot to some degree. It's worked on volume. I think it's going to be very difficult to run anything like that in the coaching industry with how incestuous it is. Like, everybody knows one another, everybody's one step removed from somebody else. It can lead itself to little cliques and people slagging this person off and that person off, and it will just become a bit of a mess, to be honest. But I think because of that, and because there is no regulation, and because there is large amounts of money flowing around towards coaching, people's standards are maybe not potentially what they can be, because for example, if I'm an online coach and I give you somebody else's training plan and I fob you off and I don't get back to you, I can always replace you with somebody else because of how abundant that the leads are. So, if this was purely based on how good of a coach that you are, it would be a much fairer way of doing things. Just unfortunately, building a business is not going to be 100% congruent or correlative, should I say, to how good you are as a coach. Do I think being a better coach is important? I think it's probably the most important thing, because if you've got the foundations of being a good coach, then over time you'll see long-term success. If you're a poor coach with poor skills and poor service, yeah, you might get a few clients through the door. Are they going to get a result? No. Are they going to give you a referral? No. And there's only so many people that you're going to end up burning through before you get a bad reputation and before people stop coming through the door. If you do what we did, which is we never really focused on high lead gen, to the point where I'll have some of my coaches moaning that they're not signing up 3 or 4 a month. 3 or 4 clients a week, and I probably didn't used to sign up 3 or 4 a month. Mine just grew because I would retain people, like you said. I focused on the retention. I had an average retention rate of over 12 months without a contract, and because of that, I generated results. Very much like yourself. Again, that's something that me and you never needed to work at because you're an expert in your own right at getting client results. You're far more intelligent than me at the nutrition, training, coaching side of things. You are. I'm not. I think it's important that people can hold their hands up and admit, where somebody's better than them at certain things. I think people would be better off for doing that. Does that mean that I'm not a great coach for my demographic? No, I was, because of the personality that I have and the fact that I could connect to somebody and I knew how to get the best out of somebody. But from an absolute textbook knowledge base, you're far more superior than me. Like, there's nothing I can teach you about any of that. You're good for that. And if only more coaches were like that, because the marketing side of you as you've just found, that's what I can help you with. That's where we can improve things, and somebody like yourself can then reap the rewards and the benefits of being a good coach, and now getting almost like the rewards of that because the foundations are there. I could get somebody 10 leads, but if those 10 leads drop off next month because you can't coach them, what's the point?
Right, a bit of a technical error there. We've just moved from Riverside to Zoom, so hopefully that's come across well. And we'll just carry on where we dropped off. So what I was just saying was, I think it's almost like a double-edged sword, really, for me, where you've got or I put it what I did yesterday. I put up a post on Instagram basically talking about some coaching horror stories. And I've seen these quite well-known coaches, and I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, and I've seen them absolutely destroy clients. And you see that a lot. And it's the amount of messages I had yesterday talking about bad coaching experiences is actually quite frightening. But at the same time, you've got coaches who just focus on being a good coach. It's like they almost bemoan it. They're saying, why am I not getting the leads? Well, you're not focusing on the marketing. And I have to admit, like, put my hands up, I fell into that camp. I'm going, oh, look at these other coaches. Why have they got so many clients? And I go, well, because they're doing the stuff that you're not doing. Like, what can you learn from them? And that's probably the biggest thing. Is I focused exclusively on being the best coach I could, but I neglected the elements of the business which probably would have brought more clients in. So you've kind of got to play the game to some degree. And that's one thing. When I reached out to yourself, I was like, look, I'm confident I'm a good coach. Obviously, I can always get better, but it was the sales and marketing side, which is ironic because I come from a sales background, but it was when you put it into your own business, I was so entrenched in being just a great coach that I kind of lost sight of the fact that you've still got to go and get out and get business. So you definitely need both, but you can't just sit there and be like, well, these guys get more clients than me. Well, you're not doing the work. And that's one thing I've really learned from yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is when you are a good coach, you know that you're a good coach, and your clients know that you're a good coach, but everybody else on Instagram doesn't know you're a good coach until they're actually coached by you. So the job with your social media marketing is to demonstrate that you're a good coach, and that's from a personal and a professional level. So I've heard it before where people will kind of, piss and moan a little bit about, oh, I'm a better coach than them, and they've got more clients. It's like, okay, cool. So exactly what you've just said there, but what can you learn from them? So I used to get this a lot with like the evidence-based crowd that used to moan about bro coaches. oh, they've got 100 clients and they're a shit coach. Okay, they may well be a shit coach. I do not deny that. That's up to you. If that's what you want to say, cool. But what do they do? Well, they post every day on Instagram. They're showing their journey. They're really passionate. Everything that they talk about is about bodybuilding and nutrition and training. So who do you think is going to watch that? Okay, other people that are interested in that. And they're really, really niche down without knowing that they're niche to a lot of degrees because they're so involved in what they're doing. So by definition, it's almost directed towards a niche. So then who comes into their coaching? People who are interested in getting results like that. And of course, they then get a result, and then that breeds social proof, that breeds more people coming in that are exactly like that. So rather than pissing and moaning, you go, okay, well, do you know what? I'm going to be as consistent as them, but in my own message. I'm going to be as direct and clear about what I do, but in my own message. And turn up on social media like the coaches that have got 80, 90, 100 clients, because there's a reason why they have 80, 90, 100 clients, because they do their marketing right. Whether you want to do your marketing the same is completely different, but they're doing it right for them. So there's things that you can learn. So yeah, it is something that people have to kind of learn if they're wanting a successful coaching business. Um, no business will get anywhere without marketing or advertising. You could have the best product on the planet, but if nobody knows about it, it's no good being the best product, is it?
No one's going to fucking buy it. So I guess following on from that is, what are the traits of like the successful coaches that you see?
Um, so the traits of the successful coaches that I see. How are you determining success first?
Good,
Financial?
good. That's a good point. So I guess it's we could cover that with a couple of different ways. So obviously financial success. I guess
Okay.
strength of their coaching business, them as a coaching brand that you would be proud of as a business owner. I mean, if you looked at your own business and you thought, I'm proud of this business, I'm successful, you're doing well financially, you're proud of the message that you're putting out, and it's sustainable. I guess that's the way I would
Okay.
look at it.
Okay. The the traits are good foundations of coaching. Got to be the first one. Because like I said, you can sell shit in a can once, but once somebody knows it's shit, they're not going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say good foundation. So for the long term, you see this a lot in our game with the mentoring thing, where people will talk a good game, talk a good game, talk a good game, and they'll get clients in. And I'm sat here going, I'm playing the long game. I'm service. Retain clients. Get people results so that they don't need to leave. Right. That's my game. And they'll get all the flash in the pan, but they'll get a bad reputation, and people will drop, and it will come to not an end as such potentially, but it will lose its momentum and traction. So I think you've got to base your business on long term principles. Everything out there is about short term wins. So a lot of coaches, in my mind, are blinkered and focused on where the next client is coming from next week. You should actually think about where your business is going to be next year, um, which is difficult to do, but it's the same thing as what coaches tell their clients. So anytime somebody comes to you for fat loss, what would you say to somebody that said, where am I going to, like, how much do you think I can lose in my first month? You'll go, how long is a piece of string? Like, how much is a piece of string? Whatever. It depends. It depends. It depends. It's going to be longer than a month. You need to think long term. So many coaches are short sighted. So the next trait that I would say, have a longer term vision about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and do not get distracted by what happens this week. This week is not a reflection of your business. You might get 3 clients drop this week. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. It just might mean that these 3 clients, for whatever reason, one of them has broke up with a missus, the other one's cars broke down, and the other one's lost his job. That doesn't mean you're a bad coach. Instead, you need to focus on that longer term vision. You need to dedicate your time to your business. You cannot treat coaching as a side job, as something that you do because it's easy money outside of the gym. You will get found out. You treat it like a job. You get up in the morning and this is your job. It's a very, very well paid job. We're very fortunate to be able to work from an office. We're very fortunate that we can get a haircut in the middle of the day and go to the gym when we want. if you want your business to grow in the way that you want it to grow, the good coaches, if we're talking about traits, the good coaches are ones that recognize that they need to spend time on their business, not time doing other things that taken away from the business that they're telling themselves are for the business, like training, doing the fucking food shop. Spend time on your business. The ones that put effort in usually get rewarded with the best results. So I would say building a good coaching foundation, having a longer term vision in mind, and putting time and effort into something, shock horror, are probably the three best traits that I would look for when somebody comes in. You know, if you came in, if I'd never met you, and you went, Mike, I've got these qualifications, I've done this amount of study, I've been 12 years a coach, I've got these results. I go, cool, great coach, ticked off, one. I know it's not going to be quick, Mike. I'm looking at basically where I want to be next year. I'd like to double revenue this start in a year's time. Tick. Then you go, I'm prepared to work hard. I know it's not going to be easy. I know that, you know, it's not going to be a 1 hour, 2 hour a day job. Tick. That for me is ideal client to come into my business. Red flag client is, yeah, so, you know, I've got a couple of clients. They tend to stay for about 2 or 3 months. Yeah, I really want to kind of start coaching because I'd love to earn like 10K, 12K, 15K, something like that a month. And yeah, I just love the freedom, really. I just love the flexibility of it all because I kind of want to move over to Bali. And yeah, I like kind of going away and traveling and working from my laptop. Then I'm a bit like, okay, not to say that that's impossible or that they're going to be a tough client, but I'm a bit like, bit red flaggy here. This is somebody who wants quick fix with no real evidence that they can coach. They've not got that many clients and they're leaving within 2 or 3 months. And you're talking about numbers like 10, 12, 15K, throwing them around like it's easy because it's not. And I want to do all of this traveling and all of this basically not working. Those to me are a bit like that type of person, maybe not so much.
I really like the analogy you said about training, because I think if we all said to someone, I want to put on £100 of mustard in a year, you'd be like, well, you ain't going to do that, are you? But all of a sudden, people are going, I'm going to build my business like that. And off the back of that post I said I put up yesterday talking about bad coaches, I got in a discussion with a lot of guys, a lot of coaches online, and we all kind of said the same thing: is there's too many people going into the industry expecting just to make money, and there is this. Don't get me wrong, it is a very well paid job, it can be, but I see it's time and time again when people go into it because they're looking to make money, not because they want to be a good coach.
Mhm.
And it's this really weird concept because I coach a lot of coaches, right? I coach tons and lots of PTs, and I go fully online, and they're almost they don't say it like this, but it's almost like, what's the secret? I'm like, work really fucking hard. Like,
Mhm.
there's a quote I like, and it's the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I'm like, honestly, my life's really fucking boring because all I do at the moment, because I'm just trying to build this business, coaching business, physique collective. I'm making sure that the amount of time I put into this is exceptional because I'm not going to do it without the hard work. And I think one thing I've been really grateful for you guys. I'm certainly not for being like, I do apologize, but I mean
Yeah.
it's having that direction. But I think so many people go into it is they go into it going, this business mental, so I can make 10, 15, 20K a month. Fuck my clients. I'm just gonna they're just cash cows to me, and
Mhm.
I'm just gonna expect this is going to happen. And I like you talking about the long term outcome because, like I say, with training, if I said to you £100, you'd be like, nah, it's going to take you years, mate. But all of a sudden, that 20K month is like that £100. It's like, yeah, you're gonna be there.
Interestingly enough, I use the exact same analogy with a new client that came in, not now, but he probably came in whew, 18 months ago, not my client anymore. You'll find this ridiculous. He had 3 clients and 300 followers on Instagram, right? And he said, um, by the end of the year, I want to have 40,000 raving fans on Instagram and I want to have 100 clients in my business, right? By the end of the year. And my year 3 goal is to be a millionaire. And I said to him, okay, so what you've just told me is the equivalent of me needing to lose 50 pounds of fat, but I also want to win a pro card this year. And by year 3, I want to be Mr. Olympia. What would you say to me?
Yeah.
Like, where do people pluck these figures from these days where, oh, I want to be a millionaire in 3 years? Look, I love having big goals. I love that people have goals and I love people set themselves standards. But how are we just plucking out figures in the industry where it is just cash cow stuff? And do you know when you do that? you will look for the shortcuts, you'll look for
Mm.
the easy wins, and what you'll get is coaching systems like this leverage coach stuff and the traffic light system stuff that I've seen people do, where it's in some mentorship seen as a badge of honor. Oh, I signed somebody up for £1,000 up front, and I only have to speak to them every 3 or 4 weeks with the way that my check-ins are working. Well done. You took £1,000 of somebody's hard-earned money to toss them off with an inferior product. Congratulations. Don't know when this became like the norm or acceptable. Like, I just don't know. And the refreshing thing about somebody like yourself, without having to suck you off now.
You can if you want, mate. Go on.
Thank you.
It's like a little daisy chain.
I wouldn't be able to fit it in my mouth from what I've done. Only because I've got a really small mouth.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. This is professionalism right here. Yeah.
And this is why you are successful, and why you will continue to go on to be even more successful to whatever degree. So somebody like yourself, I've probably got a possibility of earning astronomical figures, right? But it's because the foundations are right, and coaches would do well. Again, I know that obviously you coach a lot of coaches. In my mind, anybody that listens to this podcast regular, reach out to Matt. Like, learn from somebody who's walking the walk, who's built his business on good foundations from being a good coach. Learn the skills and the traits he has, absorb his knowledge, and better your own coaching business. Because guess what? Once you've done that once, you've got that then for the rest of your career. Once you've built that knowledge, you've got it for the rest of your career. Working out what trending audio works this week to get more views on a reel will last you till next week. It will not last you for the rest of your career. So if there's anybody that's ever been on the fence around signing up with Matt to absorb his knowledge and to learn from him, like, I would say, don't hesitate. Drop him a message, because I wish I'd have had somebody when I was developing as a coach to go and learn from firsthand. There was nothing like that then. Nothing. Zero. And luckily, I had a business partner where I could bounce ideas and kind of, I guess, veto certain elements and kind of discuss certain topics. So luckily, I was in a position where I had somebody to bounce that off. But if I was on my own, I wish I'd have had somebody that I could have guided me through everything that I needed to know to develop my skills and my knowledge as a coach. So if you are listening to it, just give Matt a message, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I'll slip you 100 later. But honestly, thank you for the kind words. I think I'm quite lucky in the sense that I've been around the game quite a long time, but also a lot of my friends within the coaching industry are very high level coaches. So my business partner Joe, friends with Christian, Tom, Callum, a lot of these very successful coaches, and you kind of it does kind of rub off on you. You get that, and you have that echo chamber, which isn't a self-perpetuating negative one. It's, I'm around people doing well, and it makes you want to be better. And that's kind of one of the things I love and also hate about the industry is if you're in the right group, it's going to propel you, and it's going to really throw you up the ladder. If you're in the wrong group, it can fill your mind with all these delusions of grandeur in terms of I'm chasing money. And it's quite funny to me, like you see a lot of these coaches who actually people think are just it's all about money. And there's a few guys I can think of who are actually very, very good coaches. They just built a business where they're making a lot of money. And people are like, oh yeah, I'm going to go. I made a meme the other day about an online coach, and I said like a little thing saying like on Google, it's saying how much is a McLaren, because Christian bought one, and everyone's like, I need to buy a McLaren now because Christian's got one. It wasn't a dig at Christian. It was more like Christian's done the thing, and he's got the results. People are going to try and copy that to look like they've got the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people messaged me saying, was that a dig at Christian? I was like, he's one of my best mates and he's a really good coach. It's more the fact that that's deemed as a mark of success. He's earned that because he's been really good at his job. He didn't buy the McLaren, then like convince people he was a good coach. That's how he got to be. That's how he got to be able to buy it, which baffles me. Where people are like, I'm going to copy this thing.
Yeah. So I think what it is that that's the element that people see. People see the McLaren, and it's that they want. But what actually they should emulate is the thing that got him to buy a McLaren, which is knowledge, principles, coaching, service, and delivery. Christian is very good at building community. His his followers
Fans. Yeah.
they're almost like fans to some degree, because
Mm.
it's like a real strong connected community. Really good to see. That's the stuff that you emulate,
Mm.
not the McLaren. That doesn't mean anything. So I've got a nice car, and I think I've made 2 posts in my entire life about my car. One when I first got it, because it was a bit of a big day, because I got a house and a car on the same day. It was a bit of a proud moment. And then the next one was a bit of a wrap up on my birthday of things that had happened, or it might be for the end of the year or something like that, twice. Because it's not a dirty thing to earn money or to be
No.
successful, but I don't want it to be the thing that makes somebody take action to buy from me.
Mm.
I would hate that, because it actually makes no difference what I have as a material thing. What you should be looking at is my values and my principles around how you should build a business. And if we're aligned in those things, then I'm probably the guy to come to. If you're coming in because you've seen that I've got a nice car and that's what you're basing it off of, forget it. So same thing with Christian. It's like what you're mocking is the now I want a McLaren.
Yeah.
But if you buy McLaren, if you're Christian or you or Callum or any of the other good coaches that Joe that you just mentioned, you've earned it.
Mm.
But that's not what the focal point ever was. The focal point was the coaching, and then the good things come off the back of that.
Yeah, I massively agree. So, what would be really cool to know, like from you, because obviously you see so many coaches, and we talked about the importance of service and that being a massive thing. In terms of sort of growing the business, I've had a lot of people now. A lot of people talk about, oh, you don't need a niche, and that was one thing my mindset was before I came to you was I just wanted to be the best coach. I wasn't to worry all that sort of stuff, and I thought, oh, you don't need a niche because I'm going to lose clients, but obviously you've completely changed my thought process on that. What that'd be interesting, I think, for people listening. Well, having a niche.
Okay. Yes, everybody needs a niche, right? um, and that niche will always be different to other people. The unfortunate thing is when people think about niche, they think about demographic, which is incorrect, because they'll go straight down the line of gender, profession, age. And that's what people do. And because it's been so done to death in other mentorships, where it's this whole, I work with busy professionals, it's a little bit like vomit inducing. That's not what a niche is. If you look at you just named those coaches there as high level coaches,
Mm.
right? So you talk about Callum, what's his niche? He turns people pro.
Well, pro coach,
That's a
yeah,
niche, right?
yeah.
They're not male nor female. It's either. They're not fitting into a certain age. I'm sure some of them are coaches. Some of them might be teachers, policemen, plumbers. But yet it's a niche, right? And that niche is based on probably where they are now, which is high level competitor, wanting to be highest level competitor.
Mm.
That's a niche. You probably also have another niche where you could coach first time competitors. That would be a niche to go into. Again, not gender specific, not age
Mm.
specific. So a niche is really important when it comes to marketing, because if you don't create content and advertising marketed directly at somebody, you begin to blend in and talk to nobody. So I've used an analogy which you've probably heard me use before, but I use it for the podcast. So look at the car industry. If we're talking about cars, you can have Aston Martin and Kia, 2 cars. For all intents and purposes, they do the same thing. They get you from A to B, which is exactly what a coach does, by the way. Gets you from A to B. So you've got somebody who coaches ex-slimming welders to lose 4 stone and be happy, and you've got Callum turning people pro, right? Marketing needs to be different. The person that speaks to the slimming welders is going to make completely different content to Callum, completely different. That's the beauty of niche, right? So going back to the cars, Aston Martin advert, man in a tuxedo in a cigar lounge, pretty lady catches his eye, he walks outside, valet hands him his keys, it's an Aston Martin.
Mm.
Here advert, family of 5 coming out of the door, young children, dog runs off, drop their luggage, hands are full. It's a bit hustle and bustle. Parting shot is the door closing with all of the luggage in. It's quiet, and they drive off. That's the beauty of knowing who your niche is. Kia do not look at Aston Martin and go, "Oh, that looks swish." That looks swanky. I'll do my marketing like that. And Aston Martin don't look at Kia and go, oh, that looks practical and economical. I'll do my marketing like that. Aston Martin knows who buys an Aston Martin, and Kia knows who buys a Kia. So you market accordingly to that niche, that psychographic, basically. So your niche is broken down into demographic, psychographic. Psychographic is the other things outside of demographic, essentially. You could have two 35-year-old males. One wants an Aston, one wants a Kia. For two different reasons. One probably wants status, I'd say. One of them wants safety, reliability, and practicality, I'd say. So it's really important to know your niche because it's going to shape the type of content that you put out. Very, very, very important. Your entire job on Instagram is to demonstrate who you work with and why you're the best coach for them. If you do those two things, you're set.
I mean, I've got to say Aston Martin. I'm looking at buying one because in my head, I'm like, I'm going to be James Bond. That's what I was thinking.
Which one are you going for?
At the moment, at the minute I said to my clients, I said to a few guys into cars, I said to them, I'm thinking of buying, and all they've done is just bombarded me. I've got two guys in particular who are really into their cars, and bombarded me, buy this car, buy this car, buy this car. I'm like, I wish I hadn't told anyone, because all I'm doing now is I'm sat on my hands going, I don't know. I was looking at a DB11 because I think they're really nice. And then I've got guys sending me Ferraris, and I'm thinking, fuck me, I'm going to turn into Christian at this rate because I'm just going to keep copying him with car brands. But yeah, I don't know. But the reason you're 100% right. When you're marketing at someone, you do it for a certain reason. And Aston Martin, I looked at it, I'm like, I'm fucking James Bond. And I think it's the same, exactly the same for coaching, isn't it? You're like, who am I going after? And why am I going to attract that person? And I think that's something I didn't really grasp before. I think I was doing a level of it subconsciously, but it was only when we started working together I got a bit more sort of precise understanding of what I'm trying to do with my business. And I think the thing that you also helped me with is treating it like a business. And I think that goes back to the point we were making before about it's very easy to promote coaching. Like you're thinking, oh, either coaching is really easy, it's a cash cow, or I just want to be a really good coach. Why aren't people coming to me? It's like, well, you need both, but you also need to treat your business like a business. And that's certainly something I mean, do you see a lot of coaches doing that wrong? Because I imagine that's probably quite a big mistake.
Yeah. I'll get coaches, respectfully, again, to anybody listening, with 20 clients who tell me that they don't have time to do certain elements that they don't have time to make a post a day, for example. Give up now. Like, because I can make a post a day, and I've consistently had over 100 clients that still do for the last 3, 4, maybe 4.5 years now. And I can make a post a day, plus manage staff, plus have 170 people in a membership group and keep that going. So how can they not post? And it's because they don't structure it like a job. It's literally that. So people will laugh at me because I'm the palest man in Dubai, right? It's because I sit at my desk all day.
Do you want some MT2?
I've been offered this before, but I'm too scared of injections.
You can get a nasal. I sound like a drug pusher now, but you can get a nasal spray, and it does work. I mean, you might be walking around with an awkward erection, but I mean, it's a good day.
I'll take it at my age.
How old are you? Fuck.
Yeah, true. True. Do you have any side effects?
You can get flushing. I mean, if you took the entire vial, there are some studies showing like liver failure. But it's like if you took, I mean, no one's doing that unless you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, I am quite pale, so
there we go. I mean, I look like I'm pushing drugs on a podcast, but I mean, it's an option.
It's an option.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
But yeah, so the reason is because I sit at my desk and I do my job. Because if I was being employed, I'd have certain non-negotiable tasks to do. Otherwise, I'd get fired. The unfortunate thing is that when you become your own boss, a lot of coaches don't give themselves the same level of accountability. They will toss it off. They will take all the perks of it, of getting my hair cut when I want, doing my Tesco shop when I want, going to the gym when I want. But then they'll also want the evenings off. Well, no, because you've got the beauty of doing those things that a normal person, a 9 to 5, would have to do in the evening or a weekend. But you're wanting them in the day and take the evenings off. Well, if you're doing that in the day, you're going to have to work in the evening then. Because, again, common sense would dictate, do you think you're going to grow your business quicker putting in 10 hours a week or 40 hours a week or 40, right? So do 40 then, but they don't, and that's a big issue.
Yeah, I think what you actually said something which is, I think I hear so many coaches, including my clients, say is, I hate social media. And I was like, it's part of your job though.
Yep.
And I'm not saying I've got a massive social media following, but I don't need to for my niche specifically. But you need to, in my opinion at least, put out content, show people, and be present. And me and Christian, talking about Christian again, we laugh quite a lot. We say the same thing. Is funny how when I'm consistent putting out social media content, you get more clients. Funny that,
Yep.
like who would have thought? But what do you tend to see that theme as well with coaches? They want to focus, and maybe it's the evidence-based crowd, the crowd I've come from, where they want to be a little bit more uh, coach focused. Do you find they struggle with the social media aspect?
Yeah, I think because they don't have a clear direction of what they're needing to do, because they see online coaches and it is littered with idiots and people making stupid slapstick crap content. And the better coaches probably look at it and go, fuck doing that. But that's with the belief that it has to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that at all. So being scared of social media, I do see coaches that are reluctant because it is difficult. I'm not going to say it's not difficult to put yourself out there. There's a fear of rejection, a fear of failure, a fear of doing it wrong, a fear of looking stupid, which is quite a deep-rooted fear of being ostracized from the pack. That's why a lot of coaches, when they do post, they post very similar content to other posts to other coaches because they just want to blend in, which is actually what you shouldn't do when you're trying to market. You should be trying to stand out. But I would say if you're scared of, or if you hate social media and you want to be an online coach, that's like saying you want to be an in-person coach, but you don't want to step foot in the gym. Good luck. Like, because that's where your work's done. You're an online coach, you're going to have to be online. So again, take it down into binary forms and you kind of go, okay, do you think it's more likely that you'll get somebody sign up with you if you make 0 posts a year or 400 posts a year? Well, 400, surely. Not 0. It wouldn't be 0. Okay. So then at any point on that spectrum, up to that 400, then it probably means that you'll see better business. So I could then go, well, 10 posts a year or 350, or probably 350, 20 posts a year or 320 or 320. So it will always be better because it's more exposure. It's another post for somebody to like it, to get value from it, to be triggered by it, to be provoked into thinking about something, to be engaged by it, to find it funny, to kick off about it, like what you just posted yesterday, and the DMs have gone wild because it's got people's backs up and it's triggered a lot of emotion and bad experiences for people or passion in people. That's what it can do. Like, and that's why you have to post. Don't get me wrong. I don't like posting on social media. Do you know, if I retired tomorrow, do you think I'd post on social media? Would I? Fuck. But why do I do it? Because it's my job and I'm getting paid to do it. Because if I don't do it, I don't get clients and I don't get paid. So you either suck it up and you learn how to do it, or you keep moaning whilst not posting and you won't get the business that you want.
One thing that's really helped me is I like to flip things in my own head and go, that's the way I view it. Is there a better way of viewing that thing? And I say, if I don't post content, I'm not going to be able to help people.
Hmm?
And that's kind of the thing for me. Like my purpose in life is genuine. I love helping people. That sounds really cheesy, doesn't it? But I absolutely love it. And I think flipping on its head and saying, if I don't post, I can't help people. I can't have a business. I can't have a career, and that it's not going to work. So what's the alternative? Well, there isn't one. You've got to do this thing, and that's really helped me in a psychological standpoint. Just do the thing, because these are the negatives that happen if you don't do that.
So I used that same framework when I first ever met Dan, my business partner, for those who don't know. Um, so when me and my business partner met, we joined part of a coaching team together. And the other three or four members when we joined, I don't think were doing consultation calls or sales calls. I don't think they were doing that. I was, and I remember Dan having a particular problem with it and feeling like, oh, I don't want to be too salesy and stuff like that. And I'm like, I did the same thing as you. I said, well, what happens if you don't sell to them? Well, if you don't sell to them, somebody else will. And if somebody else sells to them, what happens to that client? They could be ripped off. They could be led down the wrong path with drugs, eating disorders, fobbed off, overcharged, underdelivered. So, do you think that you're the best coach for that client that you're going after? Yeah. So you're doing the client a disservice by not selling to them.
Mm.
Because if they're looking for coaching, they're going to pick someone. It might as well be you, because you're going to be the best at doing it.
100%. I love that. I love that like mental framework of. I think people are, and I've definitely felt this way before. Like you don't want to appear salesy, but it's only salesy if you're jamming it down that person's throat. If you're just saying like this is what I offer, and I genuinely think I can help you, you've come to me because you've got a problem. I can help you fix that problem, and that's something I've actually seen a lot recently. I've got with my acne business. So many people have got this very visceral problem because they're dealing with it. I've dealt with it. Bad skin. It's horrible. Now I can help them. Like I'm very confident I can help them. So therefore, I'll tell them that, and I don't think it sounds salesy because I can legitimately solve the issue that is causing you so much heartache. And it's the same in coaching. Like you can solve that person's problem. I think that's a very valid reason to tell them that.
Confidence in sales will come when you believe that the value is greater than the price that you're offering. Underconfidence in sales will come when you know that the value that you're delivering is less than the price that you're charging, in my opinion. So if you've got confidence in what you do and you believe in what you're selling, which is coaching, and you believe that it can change somebody's life, do you think somebody would pay £1,000 to get in shape, to increase relationship with food, increase relationship with body, improve their confidence, improve their relationship, have better health, live longer? Would somebody pay £1,000 for that? Yeah, damn right they would. So does your coaching or service support that? If it does, be confident in what you're selling. If it doesn't, look at the service. So I will never ever worry about selling because it only comes across as salesy if it's disingenuous, if it's slimy, and if I'm not delivering on my promise. If I said to you, I can add you £5,000 a month recurring revenue to your business. I've currently got some spaces for it. Here's how to get in touch. It's not salesy if I back it up. That's providing a
The truth,
service.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's the truth, yeah. That's like Coca-Cola not putting an advert on TV because they don't want to be salesy. It's like, well, I'll go and buy Coca-Cola, and in exchange, I get a Coca-Cola for it. It's like if I'm buying coaching, and in exchange, I get exactly what's promised. There's going to be no issues then, is there? It's only when it's not promised, when it is a little bit of a fob off, that it becomes salesy. So if you have spaces, stop thinking that you look desperate. Stop thinking that you want to look more exclusive. If you have spaces, say you have them. Don't do it in a way where I've only got two left. If you don't, like, just say it with your chest. If you need help with this, here's what I do. There's currently space available. Here's how to get in touch. Nothing bad will happen. Like sometimes nobody will take you up on it, and that is absolutely fine. It doesn't stop you doing it again in 3, 4, 5 days' time. That's just the way it goes. There's been numerous times where we've said, "Dim me for coaching, whatever." Let's just say that's the call to action, and nobody will reply. And guess what? Nothing happens. You show up and you do it again, just the way that Coca-Cola don't put an advert on TV and expect you to get off the sofa and run to the shop. They'll buy when they're ready. You just need to make sure that they know that you're available and how to get in touch. That's it.
Yeah, I've definitely found that beneficial myself. You tell people that your place is available, they might not know how to contact you, and it's definitely been helpful on that front. One thing that's come to my head as I was talking there was Instagram following. How important do you think that is? Obviously, it is a metric we probably want to bring up because it's more potential customers. But I've heard a lot of people say, and I've definitely thought this before, I haven't got enough Instagram followers, right? What's your sort of thought process on that?
I think there's two different types of following. I think let's just say anything below 1,000 followers, and I would probably look at trying to grow your audience. That's one thing I will say
Mm.
is that if you've got 200 followers and it's school friends, the local coffee shop and next door neighbor's cat account, like you're going to struggle. If you've got north of 1,000, 1,500, imagine that amount of people in a room. That's a lot of people,
Mm.
and you need what, 30 of them to be making a pretty good living, 200 quid a month, let's say, even 150 quid a month. That's not to be sniffed at, that amount of money. You need 30 out of that. So it makes me laugh sometimes when, let's just say, for example, somebody has 5,000 followers and they've got 30 clients and they go, oh, I think I need to grow my following. I go, you believe you can only get 30 clients out of 5,000 people? So to get 60, you're going to need 10,000 followers. That's not a great conversion. Instead, you need to focus on your audience connection. So followers are important if you have none. Of course they are. But it's not as important as just focusing on growth, 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 growth. Instead, focus on the audience connection. So focus on who's viewing your stories, focus on who you're conversing with and building relationships with, focus on who's getting something for free from you and adding themselves to the email list. Focus on those things. We've never ever focused on growth. It's taken me 9 years to get to 11,000 followers. I had a client call with one of my clients last week who had grown, what was it, 54,000 followers in 8 days. And I said to him, you've grown more in 8 days than I will before I retire. I won't have that by the time I retire. But I'm not mad at that because without sounding like a knob, we've got a 7-figure business out of an engaged audience. So the metric that you should be tracking is kind of how engaged are they? Like, how many people are reaching out to me? How many people are viewing my stories? Like, how many people are getting something for free? Because you might have, and I've seen it, literally seen it, somebody has 100,000 followers, 4 clients.
Mm.
I'm not shitting you. That's no good. You trying to find followers out of 100,000, find clients out of 100,000 people, like, is going to be like looking in a needle in a haystack. I'd rather grow slower, and that every 10, 20, 30 people coming in, a good chunk of them are actually interested in what you're doing, rather than just mass people coming in because you've hit a viral video. Build your followers up. Again, somebody comes and follows me, unless they're an online coach, I don't want them to follow me because why would I want them? So any um, forex trader, business growth expert, I just get them. I just remove the follower straight away because
Mm.
it's not about followers. It's about the right type of person that comes into your audience, that engages with what you're doing, and ultimately becomes your client at some point down the line. So it's important to a point, but not as important as what everybody thinks it is.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I'm just getting followed by copywriters. That's one thing
Yeah.
I mean, I could have 100,000 followers of copywriters. I think I probably one of us would crack. I'm sure one of us would break at that point, either me or them. I think I'd probably take the W there, but it's pointless having them as followers because they're not they're not buying off, they're not buying the coaching. Um, so yeah, I can see that that's obviously a ridiculous example, but you can see where people maybe focus on the wrong thing. And we're all guilty, we all want more followers, right? But I think it's very easy to get like lured down that rabbit hole of more is necessarily better because I've got guys I coach who've got a lot more followers than I have and struggling to grow their coaching business. And it's like, okay, clearly that's not the major factor. So we kind of covered quite a few bits there. Is anything else? Say you were looking at an online coach. They've got their coaching skills there. They've got a decent Instagram following. They've got a decent niche. What's the next step for those guys to, apart from obviously hiring you guys, right? But what's the next step in terms of growing their business without giving the too many secrets away, Mike?
Look, I don't mind giving secrets away because, like, as I'll always tell all my clients, you can give away all of your best stuff for free, but people won't action it. So they'll come to you for accountability and to be told, here's what you need to do, because people need that clarity. So if somebody had a niche, so let's just say if it was you, for example, and you came in and you were working with online coaches, what would I do? I'd look at your content and I'd go, okay, so what are the bottlenecks in the business at the moment? First thing. So you can usually have one of three bottlenecks. There's only three really that exist until the fourth one comes in, which is a luxury one, which is time becomes your bottleneck. That's when you're full.
Mm.
The other three are, is he booking enough calls to what I would expect? Is he closing those calls? And then his retention is drop off. You say, for example, you're booking 20 calls a month, but you're closing two, your bottleneck is your sales calls.
Mm.
Say if you were only booking one call a month and you were closing that, lead generation, your bottleneck. Say if you were booking 10 calls, signing up nine, but you were dropping off 10 people a month, retention's your bottleneck.
Mm.
So I would look at your bottleneck first. I would then try to fix that problem. If it's retention, it would be either a type of client thing, either they're coming in expecting something that it's not, B, a terms and conditions thing where they're signing up for like a 3 month or a 4 month plan and they're coming to the end of it and just dropping off. C, quality of service. Is your onboarding overwhelming them or underwhelming them? Or is it that you're slack on your replies or your updates are just not that engaging or they're not getting a result? One of those three things will typically be for the retention, for the churn. If it's lead generation and you're not booking calls, it would be, okay, let's have a look at the content. 9 times out of 10, it's probably not clear enough. It probably doesn't show behind the scenes of your life, behind the scenes of your coaching. It doesn't have enough personality and personal branding towards it, and it doesn't smack why somebody should sign up with you. I'd look at the amount of social proof that you post on a consistent basis, and then your persuasive copy in terms of calls to action for people to reach out and do things for you. If it was a lead gen problem, if it's a sales calls problem, again, we would look at the sales call itself, or are the wrong type of people jumping on that call in the first place, and they're expecting to be signing up to a £20 a month plan, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that I would look at, and I would act accordingly based on what bottleneck. So those are the things that I would do with a coach that was coming in. So what I would say to a coach now that's listening to this, get help in some form of another. Getting help, and this isn't a sales pitch for me because I fucking hate that. I hate it when you'll see a mentor post this when it's like 3 things that I did when I started my business. It's I did this, I did that, and I hired a mentor, spaces available. Like, plug. I hate that. But get help in some way, shape, or form from somebody, whether it's somebody to help you with your content, somebody like Matt to help you with your coaching, somebody to go and do a course of some kind, go and educate yourself. Get help in some way, shape, or form that moves you as a business owner and a coach forwards to some degree. Don't be scared of asking for help. Don't be scared of investing because you're going to shorten the length of time that you can do something. Get there quicker. I got to where I'm at in 9 years. If I'd have been helped, maybe I could have got there in 6, right? Would I have paid for that 3 years? Fucking damn right. Of course I would have. So don't be scared of asking for help with whatever it is that you want to do. That's kind of what I would advise.
Yeah, I think there's a quote I really like, and it's the only true shortcut in life is to find someone who's who's got to where you want to get to, and pay them to show you how. And
Couldn't agree more.
I wish I'd done that sooner. And I get a lot from my clients and my mates as well. They say, "Oh, you know a lot of stuff." And I was like, "It's because I've made every fucking wrong decision there is, and I've had to learn from it." Like, you think I know a bit, it's because I've done everything wrong.
Do you know
And
what,
that,
man? I hate that. I hate the yeah, but it's easy for you thing. Yeah, but you know. But you weren't born knowing what you know. You've got to have your way to learn it and put effort in. Because it really winds me up, when people say to me, "Oh yeah, but it's easy for you, isn't it?" But you didn't see what I was doing 8 years ago, did you? When I was doing Research Fridays and I had a 40-hour-a-week job in the Air Force, and I was on prep at the same time, and I was sitting my first year uni exams, and I was getting qualified as a nutritionist, and I did my PT qualification at the same time, and I was grafting. Like, so it's not, no, it's not easy. And when I write captions, oh yeah, but you're just good at it. Yeah, because I practiced it. Because I made mistakes and I learned like you. I
yeah,
fucking hate it when people go, "Oh yeah, it's because of that." You're just not willing to learn. Everybody starts making their first shit post or their first shit video or their first shit email. We all do it. But the sooner you start doing it, the quicker you learn how to get better.
I mean, Alex Hormozy does. I love everyone that's in business loves Alex Hormozy. If you don't get his books, he's great. But he says must be nice. He does a thing
Yeah.
like must same sort of thing. Must be nice, and it's like, well, you didn't see all the shit I had to get through to get to this point, which is, and that's kind of why you hire someone. That's why you hire a mentor. Because to me, I don't want to waste time, so I hired you, right? I've interned, or I've interned when I was in sport. I interned a lot to learn from other strength coaches. The amount of money I've spent over the years in terms of getting consultations with coaches who are further along than me in something, because that's the only way I'm going to actually learn here. So it's okay, and like I say, I would rather pay someone else to make the mistakes for me in a way, which is kind of why I've got you here. So you can make the mistakes for
That
me. But
that is what you're paying for. That we've just hired a mentor for the property investment, basically, because it's the same thing. It's like what exactly what you've just said. Hire somebody who's done what you want to do. So we look at this guy and go, well, he's done what we want to do. So is it worthwhile asking him? Yeah. Or you can do what most coaches do and guess. I just don't understand why you would guess. Like, just get help and get on the right path. Absolutely invest.
yeah, I'm glad you said it, because I think it's certainly something I think more coaches should do. I wish I'd done sooner, and yeah, I think it's infinitely fantastic to do. So I think we've come up to about hour and quarter now, Mike. I was gonna sort of wrap things up. Is there anything else you think coaches would really benefit from? We've also talked about like niche, all that other stuff. Is there any one takeaway you would give to people today which they can improve their coaching business?
I would say focus on those three traits that I said probably an hour ago. I'd say do everything that you can to improve those three traits. Do everything that you can to become a better coach first and foremost. That's gonna to some degree come with time anyway, but learn from other coaches, booking consultations with people, critique your business from time to time, which is important. Look at what's going right and what's going wrong. Listen to feedback. Don't be blind to it. Um, be consistent even when you don't feel like turning up. Turn up because you're being paid to turn up. It's your job. Look at the longer term picture rather than the shorter term picture, and work hard. Um, Nothing in life comes easy. I wish it was. I wish I could sit here and go, it's super simple, guys. Like, come and join me. I can show you how simple it is. It's not. It's hard work. So if there's anything to take away from it, is that don't I'd say don't get blinkered by all of the shiny objects out there. Like, I'm not selling anybody anything by talking on here. I'm not selling you AI. I'm not selling you this new these Facebook ads or this new method of lead generation or promising 20 of these a month. I wouldn't do that. Don't get distracted by those things. They don't exist. They're not real. That's somebody trying to take money out of your pocket. Focus on those three things: good coach, hard work, consistency over time. Implement some of the other things in terms of the social media stuff, of course. If you do those three things, I don't think you can fail. Yeah, I don't think you can fail if you nail those three things.
I love that. I think that's quite a very different message to a lot of the business mentor stuff I see on the internet. Is they're promising those quick shiny wins. I do think that's, like we said before, a reason people get distracted. So that's kind of why I love the business you and Dan have built. That it is very much, this is a long term process. And to nick something from Gary Vaynerchuk, he said, I want to be long-term patient, short-term impatient. So the day-to-day stuff, I'm doing everything I can, but my vision and the process is very much drawn out. Like I said, what we're doing next year, 2 years, 3 years from now. And I think for me, that's how you build a good physique. That's how you build a good business. It's how you build anything good in life, is you do those two things, like you just kind of said there. So yeah, I love what you guys have done. And honestly, I think there's been people that take so much from what you said today about growing their business. It's going to be phenomenal. So I know you're fully booked at the moment, but where can people find you?
Mike Business Banter on Instagram. Bit of a cringe name, like I'm well aware of it, but it stands out. We've got a YouTube channel, which I think this is how good I am. I think it's still called Biceps and Banter, which is our old fitness company, and that's it. And yes, fully booked. We do have a membership group, which is a low cost subscription type thing, no contract type, where we kind of have a live video call every week, kind of covering a different topic, and you get access to a video library. So if you're interested in something like that, just drop me a message on Instagram or drop me a follow. I'll see you. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me on, mate. Yeah, I'm really happy that we've been able to sit down and do this, and hopefully, if it just helps kind of one coach get a bit of direction or save them a bit of cash from jumping in on that mentor that was dazzling them with the shiny stuff, then it's done its job for me.
Yeah, man, I think people will, and I'm very biased that I already work with you, but I've seen what else is going around, and you're the only one that I thought fit that criteria. So if anyone's listening, they're like unsure, definitely jump on the group calls because they're fantastic, and I think anyone would get a lot of benefit growing their business. It has helped me tremendously, and I'm looking forward to the future, mate. So yeah, thank you very, very much for coming on. I hope everyone's enjoyed the episode, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
mate. Bye bye.